Hello and welcome to UC Today. I'm Senior Editor Tom Wright, and today I'm joined by Steve from Ring Central. How's it going, Steve?
Good to see you, Tom.
Yeah, it's great to have you on, and we're going to be looking at your predictions for 2022 over the course of this interview. And I think to start off with, you've got a really interesting point about sort of retaining employees and making sure you're setting up a good environment for your employees in order to keep them. So maybe want to talk us through your first prediction.
Yeah, that's right. So we've seen a lot around the Great Resignation and how that's continuing and how businesses really need to heed that from their workers to give them a flexible and hybrid working environment or risk losing talent. So, recently we've done a survey. We've seen a quarter of workers are expecting to change role in the next few months. I don't think there's ever been a time where it's been like that in this market. So following the pandemic, workers, have grown used to flexibility, and also businesses have got used to workers, getting more out of more production because you stood or sat at a desk all day. So, it's imperative really that businesses take this into account when they're building the workplace of the future to make sure that teams have got an attractive workplace and environment to work from, but also as well they can work where they feel most comfortable. We did a human connection survey where two-thirds, just over 66% of those who currently work from home claimed that they prefer to stay working from home than full time back in the office. So I think businesses have got a real challenge over the next few months to nail that down as hopefully the pandemic unlocks and the world gets back to normal.
Then shall we sort of look at, I guess, the technology specifically for a little bit? Is there any technologies that you expect to really see kind of increased adoption next year?
Yeah, I think next year we'll see a lot more around AI playing a role. And what I mean from AI is really sat in the background, taking the menial pieces of work out of the worker's day. Our human connection survey showed that 63% of 21 to 24-year-olds and 34% of the 45 to 54-year-olds, which is me, said that working from home made them feel isolated. And people wanted to be able to work from the office, but also work from home and utilize technologies, so they can work on the go and artificial intelligence to really take some of the menial tasks out. So what I mean from that is, video conferencing and video calls now are, prevalent everywhere. And, having a nice background is one thing, but, what about, just automatically taking the notes, producing the notes afterwards, pushing out actions? I think they're the areas that we're really going to see take hold next year and really help employees be much more productive on the move, but also from working from home to give them more time to do strategic stuff rather than admin and menial. So I really do think we'll start to see lots of clever AI play a role next year, and I'm quite excited to see that.
And I don't think it's really possible to do a predictions piece without talking about cybersecurity. It's obviously becoming increasingly important, and I know it's a big focus within Ring Central as well. So, how do you expect that kind of trend to play out next year?
Security is really interesting. It's the number one conversation we have with all of our customers now. Five nines availability, message, video, phone, hybrid working is all great, but if it's not secure, then it's a real challenge. And with even more business communications now playing out online than ever before, the message, video, and phone data will become increasingly valuable source of IP. So security really needs to underpin everything that we're doing. And what we're seeing with businesses is they'll need to integrate their unified comms tools that include, robust data encryption and password protection, along with other, functions that really suit that requirement to make sure that, availability, accessibility is key, but it needs to be done securely because you think about the conversations that are being recorded or the transcriptions that are being delivered, that's business sensitive information. So, the first conversation we have with all of our customers now is around security, and you will see that really come to the fore again next year.
Okay, and just a couple more points to go through. We've had security, now we've got sustainability. That's only going to become more important for businesses, surely.
Yeah, it is. We've just seen with the recent global events that were happening in Glasgow. Net zero goals will hold implications in all business areas, and what better way than in business communications. Workers, I mean, my daughter was questioning my carbon footprint the other day because I've been working from home for 12 months. Then all of a sudden I was out traveling again, and she was asking me, how much of that can you do from home? I was trying to explain we could do it all from home, but there's still that business, that human contact that needs to happen as well. And we're all becoming a lot more increasingly conscious of our own environment and how we impact it. So we do need to manage and limit business travel, uh, but we still need to manage the work-life balance for mental health of people. So it's a real interesting 12 months coming up around, how can you get to net zero? How can you demonstrate you're at net zero? But how can you make sure you give your employees and partners the best environment to work in? So it'd be an interesting 12 months on that as well.
And then the final point, Steve, is voice. We obviously talk a lot about video, but voice is still there, still playing an important role. How do you think that's going to play out in 2022?
Yeah, we still think it's the most important communication model, really, mode. Voice is the natural thing. It's so easy just to send a quick message, and one message turns into three messages, that turns into 300 messages. You think, well, if I just picked the phone up and had that conversation in the first place, you could have answered so much of that. So, we see voice as still being dominant. Uh, uh, Voice is more than telephony, though. It's the root of UCAS, and also as well, when you then pull contact center into it, sometimes what we're seeing with customers at the moment is it's not about how quickly you can answer the phone, how quickly you can answer a question. It's about how you give that interaction to the customer. And sometimes voice is just the best way of doing it. If you can use AI or as much machine interaction to learn about the customer and then present the agent with the right information, you can have a conversation very quickly and close off. Customer goes off happy, employee goes off happy. It's a much nicer working environment. So we just see voice being dominant. Messaging is great, video is great, but talking to people and being able to have that conversation, especially when you're mobile and hybrid, whether that's you're starting off at home, you're then traveling to the train station, you're then traveling on the train, you're then meeting with people, you're then traveling back, being able to have a voice conversation as well as, flipping a message or a video to a voice conversation. We're just seeing that's a natural way of hybrid working moving forward.
Okay, well, it's going to be interesting to see how these trends play out next year, Steve, and I hope we can stay in touch. But in the meantime, thanks so much
Definitely.
for your time today.
No, thank you. Cheers.
And thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and a share on social media, and we'll see you next time.